Hey, 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 scrappy people. It's Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with the opening page in my 6x8 California album. I recently traveled home to California for my sister's birthday, and of course, I have 80 million pictures from that, and so I thought I would do a 6x8 album just like I did last time. So I'm doing the opening page, which is not going to have any photos on it. Well, it does have a photo on it, but no photos of people on it, just as sort of a intro page to the album. So I thought I would have a little bit of fun with it. So I have this 6x8 piece of white cardstock that I have cut Love out of, and then you can see that I cut California out of one of the map papers from or it's actually journal card, from the Cocoa Daisy My Escape collection. And then I have cut out these letters from one of the striped papers, and I'm picking out Catherine Pooler inks that match the papers that I have chosen. And I'm going to do some mixed media on this page. And I have just put down my paper with washi so that I can lift up the papers so that I don't get any mixed media on them. And I just get it on the white paper. So I'm trying out some different techniques. I was going to paint on the plastic with the paint or the stamp from the other, from the board, but it didn't work out so well. So I just put the ink directly on the plastic. Now I'm repeating the process with the next color ink, and I'm just making sure that I have a nice stripe so that it can cover up the majority of the width of the page. And I don't care if it's a little bit messy. In fact, it gets quite messy, and that's okay with me because I'm just sort of making a rainbow of color that matches the papers. So I've got this red, orange, and yellow. It's kind of more, I'm using Tutti Frutti Orange Twist and Lemongrass. So they're a little bit, not quite red. They're orange mostly. Now I'm repeating the process with the green. So I'm using Seafoam for the top color, and then I will use Grass Skirt from Catherine Pooler Inks for the next color. It's a nice vibrant green. And then lastly, I didn't have a navy from Catherine Pooler Inks. So I actually use an older Cocoa Daisy ink, which is a bit different than in consistency and quality than the Catherine Pooler inks. So you can see once I get to it that it acts a little bit differently than the Catherine Pooler inks do. It's a little bit not as liquidy, I guess, not as juicy, so I have to really add a lot more water to it. And when I do that, I accidentally drip. And actually, I don't mind. Normally, I would be mad, but I like the way that blue drip works, and I knew that I was going to be putting my title and photo in that area, so I just added a couple of orange drips as well and went with the flow. Now I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to come back once it's dry. And I actually don't love the way that orange drip on the right hand side there turned out, so I'm going to mostly cover that up. Actually, it gets completely covered up, I believe, by the photo, which is fine because that's where I was going to put my photo anyway. I'm popping up all of the papers in the background with pop dots so that I get a little bit of dimension there. And then I'm going to use some liquid glue and adhere California to my photo. It's just a photo from the plane out the window of the Sierra Nevadas, which I live in the Smoky Mountains now, which I do not consider them mountains. They are hills. They're beautiful hills, but when you live somewhere like the Sierra Nevadas, or you've been to the Rocky Mountains, you know that the Smoky Mountains are just not large mountains. So I took a picture of the Sierra Nevadas as we were crossing them into California, and I thought that was a perfect photo to sort of start the album because the page says California Love, so it's a very epic photo of California from the air. I'm going to add in some of these rub-ons from the collection. I'm using the Cocoa Daisy My Escape collection for this. I think I might use it for the whole album with some additions here and there, but it's a travel-themed collection, and this is probably the largest travel that I'm going to do this year, so it seems like the perfect time to use it. So I'm going to add in some of these rub-ons. I'm going to add that teal one in with the Seafoam ink, And then I'm going to add in a bunch of black ones too, just for some contrast. So I'm going to add this postcard one. Actually, this part actually mostly gets covered up, but I'm going to add in black ones here and there, and then I'm also going to add in some black stamps at the end as well, just to add in a little bit of contrast. So I want to matte that California, or that photo, with something to just make it stand out a little bit more too. So I'm going to use a journaling card for that after I put down this last rub-on for the moment. I thought Ready for Takeoff was perfect because what other time am I going to use that than when we are going? Although I'm always just as happy to go home as I am to go on vacation. I told my husband while we were on vacation that I'm the kind of person that's ready to go home as soon as I get to where I'm going, even though I'm happy to be where I am, and I loved seeing my sister for her birthday and all of that. I loved being on vacation and having some downtime. I am always the type of person that's just ready to be home as soon as I go on vacation. So, tells you a lot about me. I'm definitely a homebody. I'm going to split this die cut in two as well, just like I did with the postcard die cut. Then I'm going to take the rub-on. I'm going to take the rest of this rub-on. I'm just going to fold it underneath. That'll be the easiest way to deal with that. I'm trying to keep the similar colors in similar places so I keep that rainbow effect going. Trimmed down this card. I decided to go with the mint green because it was going to sit mostly in the green area. And I'm taking that tag from one of the collections. It's not adhesive, I realized. And I'm going to just stick it underneath the photo. So at this point, what I'm trying to do, what I'm aiming for, is layering. So I've got this beautiful mixed media going on, and I just want to add in a few layers, not to detract, but to add to the overall composition. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on here. Liquid glue to adhere the rest of that title. And I'm going to trim this down as well because it is hanging off of the edge. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is add in some stamping and some staples. So I'm just going to add in some staples for texture. I've been doing that a lot recently. Some wonky staples. I always like to just make things a little bit imperfect because I feel like if it's too perfect, then it doesn't really actually fit with who I am as a human. So I'm going to add in some die cuts and then some stamping. I wanted to add in this red heart, but I didn't want to add it in up in the top. Like, it didn't feel like a part of the cluster appropriately. So I'm kind of trying to figure out where to put it. I did break the rainbow sort of vibe with that blue tag at the top, and so I'm thinking that it's okay if I move this heart somewhere else, but I'm going to let it sit there for a minute. I want to add in this Let's Go. And what that does is it also gives me a place to move this heart around and put it over here. So now it sort of attaches to that rub-on a little bit better and doesn't feel like it's just floating in the middle of nowhere. So I'm going to add in some washi tape to this photo just because I can. There's a lot of blue sky up there, so I might as well just add in a little washi tape. And then last but not least, I'm going to add in some stamping. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my roller date stamp, and I'm going to add some messy roller dates to the bottom of the page. And I really should have done all of my stamping and my rub-ons and everything before I added pop dots. But, you know, I never think that far ahead. It's just not the way I am, so. And then I'm going to add, I did not leave enough room to add the 2021 because I'm a dork. So I'm going to actually I'm going to make it messy. I'm okay. The whole page is messy with that mixed media. So I'm going to just take my 2021 and I'm going to stamp it above because who the heck cares? So then I'm going to take an arrow stamp from the collection and I'm going to add it in 3 different places and then I'm going to call it good. I really, really think that these black arrow stamps finished off this page in a way that I was not expecting it to. Like, it finishes it off perfectly and really makes it pop. So I'm going to add one more. Actually, I lied. I'm going to add edit in 4 places so that it goes all the way across the page perfectly. And then that is it. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed. All right, thank you.